I am Manish, your physics teacher, and today we are going to discuss about friction for class 8. Okay, so let's start. What is friction? As discussed in previous chapter, force and pressure, we have discussed some types of forces, contact forces, non-contact forces. So friction is one of the type of a contact force. Friction is one of the type of contact force. It is applied between two objects kept in contact, and the direction of the friction force is always in parallel direction to the surface where both objects are in contact. So what are the reason behind this force? What is the origin of this force? We will discuss here. We consider a small block kept on a table. This is a small block and this is kept on a table. So if you see there, you will found nothing. That you will see that both surfaces are plane and are in contact with each other. But whenever you see the contact surface at the microscopic level, you will see at the microscopic level, what will you observe? You will observe that this will happen. There is irregularities between the surface. So this is the at microscopic level. You see that this is the irregularities between the surface. This is the irregularities. So due to these irregularities, what will happen? This friction force will occur. The irregularities will attach to each other, and the friction force, and hence the friction force is applied, and it will oppose the one object to slip over the another object. So we can say that friction is a type of force that opposes the relative motion between two surfaces. So what is the origin of friction? Origin of friction is the irregularities between the two surfaces. There is nothing reality of smooth surface. No any smooth surface exists. Even any object you make smoother, the friction, there is little bit friction and then irregularities at the microscopic level. Now, what are the factors that are affecting the friction force? Factors that is affecting the friction force. Factors affecting friction. What are the factors on which friction depends? Okay. So I am going to rub this one, and I will show you something. One of the factor is the first factor is on which the friction force is depending is the force by which one object is pressing against another object. One object is pressed against another object, both are contact to each other. So force by which one object is pressed against others. So how will it happen? See, suppose two objects are in contact to each other. Object 1 and this is object 2. There are two situations we have considered. In the first situation, both objects are pressed against each other with more force. Means large force. a small force. In the first situation, the object 1 is pressing the object 2 with a larger force. Here we will observe that the irregularities are near to each other, and they will interlock. There will be more interlocking than in the second situation when there is a small force is applied. So whenever large force is applied, whenever one object is pressing another object with larger force, the amount of interlocking is larger than when the object is pressed against another object with a small force. Okay, so that's why this is the one of the reason on which frictional force is depending. So the frictional force is depending on the first reason, the force by which one object is pressed against each other. So whenever two objects are pressed against each other, then with larger force, the friction will also large. You will observe that suppose you are pressing both of your palms with larger force and let the palm slip over each other. What will happen? So you will see there will be more friction and the palm will not. There will be a little bit of difficulty to make a relative motion between both palms. Okay, and suppose you are pressing with a very small force. This is a very small force. Then there will be a very good movement. So whenever you press two objects with a very large force, there is a very large friction force is applied between two objects, and whenever you are pressing the two objects with a small force, then there will be a very small force. And the last factor on which the friction force is dependent, that is amount of roughness. Amount of roughness. Okay, students, you see that it is easier to drive a bike on the rough road than on this marble surface. On the marble surface it is very difficult to drive, while on the simple road, the rough road, it is easier to drive. Why? Because the road is rough. It is rough, and marble surface is smooth than the road. That's why on the marble surface it is very difficult to ride the bike, because there is very less friction. So there will be a very less grip in your bike, and between your bike tires and your between the bike tires and the road on the surface where you are riding the bike. Okay, so these are the factors affecting friction. And in the next video we will discuss about the types of friction. The 3 types of friction we will discuss in the next video. See you in the next class. Thank you.